नमस्ते प्रणाम गीता ध्यान। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Partha, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the 12th adhyaya of Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. And starting with this adhyaya, Arjuna has raised a query. Arjuna has raised a question. Arjuna asked Sri Krishna that, my dear friend, who among these devotees, those who worship you in your formless aspect or those who worship you in your form, who among these two is a superior yogi? And Sri Krishna had to start with, he had told Arjuna that those who worship me in my form with supreme devotion and single-pointedness, ever steadfast, those who worship me in this form, they are yuktatama. That is my opinion. Maya vesha mano yemam nitya yukta upasate. Nitya yukta, ever steadfast, those who worship me in this form. Shraddhaya paraya, with supreme shraddha. Shraddhaya paraya upetaha teme yuktatamamataha. With extreme shraddha, with supreme most shraddha, those who worship me, they, in my opinion, me mataha, my opinion is, they are yuktatamaha. Yuktatamaha is, they are the best versed in yoga. So that was the answer given by Sri Krishna to this question. But then Sri Krishna says, those who meditate upon me, those who worship me in my formless aspect, those who worship my unmanifest form, that I don't have, not embodied Krishna, but the Akshara Avyaya, Anirdeshya Krishna, that Almighty, that Lord which is Asima, which is Nirakara, which is Nirguna. And Sri Krishna said, Yetvakshara nirdesham avyaktam paryupasate. Ye tu, but those who paryupasate, who worship me as aksharam, that as imperishable. There is no the death to that body. This body, Krishna, may die, but that body, this akshara, there is no destruction to that body. It is imperishable. Anirdesham. Anirdesham is indefinable. You cannot define it. You cannot define that ultimate entity. What is the height? What is the weight? Whether it is fat or lean, fair complexioned or dark complexioned. No, nothing can describe. It is undefinable. Anirdesham. And avyaktam, it is unmanifest. Those who worship me in those unmanifest form, my imperishable form, my indefinable form, and sarvatra by all pervading omniscient form, achintyam, sarvatra chintyancha kutastham achalam dhruvam. Sarvatra is spread everywhere, like the air occupying this entire space. There is no portion in this creation which is not pervaded by that great entity, Sarvatra and Achintya. Such a vast entity, all covering, all pervading. What can we think about such an unmanifest form of the Lord? We cannot think. There are no words to even think that form. In which manner we can think about? Achintya. And then Kutastham. Kutastha is unchangeable. Since that form is not born, since that form is anadi, then it is not that unmanifest akshara avyakta form comes into existence, grows, decays, and then there is a change day by day. Unlike these bodies that we have, every day, every moment, this body is changing. Our body, or all the beings, bodies of all the beings, every moment they are changing. What we were a moment back, we are not the same beings for that matter. Everything changes. There is a constant change in this creation. But only the ultimate akshara avyaya avyakta, anirdesha, that is unchangeable. That form, that unmanifest form is kutastham. There is no change in that. Ever since that form has always been there, there is absolutely no change. And then achalam, immovable. Since the Almighty is pervading the entire space, from where we will go to where? There is no reference point for that the ultimate entity to move from one point to another. Each and every corner of this creation is pervaded by him. So he will go from where to where. And dhruvam. Dhruvam is the eternal. There is no beginning, there is no existence, and there is no end. It is ever existent. There is no beginning, there is no end. It is dhruvam. It is eternal, that Lord. That is the eternal cosmic Lord that the yogis of the meditative aspect, they meditate upon. And then Krishna had said that such yogis, sanniyamendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhaya, such yogis who meditate on my unmanifest form, they sanniyamya indriya gramam, having controlled all their senses, not one or two senses like we described in our previous reading. All the senses restrained. There is no outgoing sense jumping from one object to another. No. Sanniyamya indriya gramam, not one or two indriyas, but gramam is the collective indriyas. So restraining all the senses, all the indriyas, sarvatra samabuddhaya, even-mindedness towards everybody, and sarva bhuta hite rataha, those who rejoice the well-being of all the beings, those who are always engaged in doing good to each and every one in this creation. Sarvatra Sarva bhuta hite rataha. Rataha is those who rejoice, those who are happily engaged in sarva bhuta hita, in the well-being of all the beings. It is not that just well-being of my near and dear ones. It is not that well-being of my family and friends. Because these yogis, they have no friends, no foes. For them, everyone is alike. For them, everyone is the manifestation of the Lord. All the beings are manifestation of the Lord. And therefore, they are always engaged in sarva bhuta hita, in the welfare of all the beings. So Krishna says, what happens to them? Te prapnuvanti mam eva. They also come to me ultimately. There is no doubt about it. So there is, in fact, there is no greater, there is no the smaller as far as the devotees are concerned. Whether you worship the formless aspect or you worship God with form, both are ultimately reaching the same goal, unknowing to them. The one who is worshipping formless, he thinks only my path is true. And the one who is worshipping the form, God with form, his personal deity, his Ishta Devata, my God or Goddess, he feels only he or she. That devotee feels only that path is true. But ultimately, when both these yogis, both these devotees, both these bhaktas for that matter, they reach the ultimate end point of their journey, then they find both have reached the same destination. Paths may be different. One is worshipping the God with form, another is worshipping the unmanifest, the formless aspect of the Lord. But they both reach the same goal. So that was what Sri Krishna had told us, that even those meditative type of bhaktas, yogis, they also reach me only. In the end, you have to reach me. There is no other goal. So what happens next? That's now. But there has got to be some difference. There is some difference between these two type of paths, these two types of worships, and that Sri Krishna now points out here in the 5th shloka. kleśo'dhikatarasteṣāmavyaktāsaktacetasām avyaktā hi gatirduḥkhaṃ dehavadbhiravāpyate. kleśo'dhikatarasteṣāmavyaktāsaktacetasām. But there is more hardship involved. Adhikatara klesha. Adhikatara klesha is a greater hardship. It is a greater trouble. It is not so easy. Klesha adhikarateṣāṃ avyaktā avyakta. Those who worship, those whose minds are set on, those whose cetasa, whose minds, whose intellect is set on avyakta or unmanifest, for them the troubles are a bit more. That is what Krishna says. They also ultimately reach me, but it is not an easy task. Why it is not an easy task? Avyaktā hi gatirduḥkhaṃ dehavadbhiravāpyate. Because for the embodied souls, dehavadbhiravāpyate, dehavadbhi. Once the soul is embodied, it is extremely difficult to reach that level of unmanifest form, because it is avyakta. You don't know how, where to focus. Since it is avyakta, it is unmanifest, where to focus the mind? So Krishna says it is a bit difficult, my dear friend. Klesha adhikatarateṣāṃ. Krishna clearly says it is not an easy task to follow the meditative, the contemplative path. They will also definitely reach. But for the embodied, if you don't have the body consciousness, till the time the body consciousness is there, it is extremely difficult to focus on the unmanifest. Because the senses that we have with this body, they are the greatest troublemakers. So unless and until we reach that stage of sanniyamya indriya gramam, it is not possible. With this dehavadbhi, the moment we are embodied, we have these senses which are always outgoing. We have this mind which is jumping up and down every moment, which is creating havoc for us. It is extremely difficult to focus on the akshara, avyaktā, nirakara. Greater is their difficulty whose minds are set on the unmanifest. For the goal of the unmanifested is very hard for the embodied to reach. We know, we realize when we sit for meditation, when we sit for doing japa, we realize how difficult it is. We can't even repeat the name, we can't even chant the japa, the holy name, the mantra, that Ishta mantra that we get. We can't even chant 10 times with complete focus. We chant 1 or 2 times, suddenly mind goes haywire. Oh, this is what happened in my office yesterday. This is what happened today. And how am I going to solve this problem? I am going to get lined up in this problem. All these things. Or, oh, I did so good in the office today. I worked wonderfully well on the project. This is what all is happening at the time of doing japa. When this is happening, how can we even think of the unmanifest? How can we even focus our attention, our mind on the formless aspect? So that is the greatest difficulty. Sri Krishna says they can reach, yes, they can reach, provided these 3 things are achieved, as Sri Krishna said. Sanniyamya indriya gramam, sarvatra samabuddhaya, and sarvabhuta hite rataha. Unless and until these 3 happen in the case of the devotees, in the case of aspirants, it is extremely difficult. Kleśo'dhikatarasteṣāmavyaktāsaktacetasām. Though the goal is same, the worship of God without form is extremely difficult for sadhaka who is soaked, who is seeped in body consciousness. Can we ever get rid of this feeling of me and mine? Can we ever get away from our mind jumping up and down from one portion to another, from one topic to another topic? Till the time this doesn't happen, sanniyamya indriya gramam doesn't happen, it is extremely difficult. As he thinks of himself with the form, he cannot help thinking of his God also as with form. I am embodied. This Jivatma is embodied in this physical feature of the body. How can I suddenly start thinking of the formless aspect? So, I need some kind of physical representation of that Lord to focus my mind upon. And then we sit in front of a photograph of our Ishta Devata. The moment mind starts wavering, we put our attention on the picture, on that photo of our Ishta Devata, and try to bring back the mind on to our desired object, to our desired Lord, God or Goddess, whosoever is our Ishta Devata. The worship of Saguna Brahma is comparatively easy, yes. Saguna Brahma, I have something in front of me whom I can at least focus my mind, on whom I can focus my entire attention. This is the form of my Lord, or this is the form of my Goddess, the Mother, that beautiful form, and I can completely focus my attention, my mind onto that form. So worshipping Saguna is comparatively much easier. I can start chanting name, I can start singing bhajans, I can start singing the glories of my Ishta Devata. I can keep mind focused that way and bring my mind towards my chosen deity. But what about avyakta? What about the unmanifest? Suddenly, how can I bring my mind on that unmanifest? While there are so many thousands of temptations surrounding me here. He who adores Nirguna Brahman has to be free from body feeling right from the beginning. That body consciousness has to go. And therefore Krishna says that for the embodied, it is extremely difficult. The senses create havoc. The mind creates havoc. The spiritually advanced soul alone rises to that level. Maybe we will have to take up birth after birth after birth, and every birth we have to make progress. And then a stage comes suddenly that we just think of the Lord. We did not think of the God with form. We just focus our mind on that Akshaya, formless, unmanifest entity of the Lord. And we get into it. When that happens, nothing like that. But that is extremely difficult for the embodied till the body consciousness is there. The easy and natural course for the ordinary sadhaka is to proceed with the worship of God with form. Naturally, that is the easiest way. That is the easiest way to start worshipping the God. And what Sri Ramakrishna says on this? Sri Ramakrishna says, now, worshipping God without form, formless aspect is extremely difficult. Like Sri Krishna said, it is kleśo'dhikatarasteṣāmavyaktāsaktacetasām. Jnani or the realized soul says, Aham Brahmasmi. The realized soul who has understood the Akshara, Avyaya, Nirakara, Nirguna aspect of the Lord can very well say, I am Brahman. Aham Brahmosmi. But the body-bounded man should not say so. He cannot say so. The body-mind bound, the embodied being cannot say so. Once the attention is on my body, on my senses, I can never utter Aham Brahmosmi, that I am Brahman. It is harmful for him to say so. Without understanding, without realizing, if someone starts repeating Aham Brahmosmi, what happens? There is a degeneration for that matter. Without realizing I am Brahman, if one starts saying I am Brahman, that is a hypocrisy, that is a fallacy. It is harmful to say him I am Brahman when actually he is the body. Yes, let your body consciousness go away. Living in this body, if you become free from body consciousness, yes, we can say Aham Brahmosmi. But that level is so very high. And that is the time when we get into that state of Sanniyamya Indriya Gramam Sarvatra Samabuddhaya Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Once that happens, then Te Prapnuvanti Mam Eva. Sri Krishna has said, but is it easy? Not at all. So, Sri Ramakrishna says, being embodied and without getting rid of this body consciousness, if I start saying Aham Brahmosmi, I am Brahman, he deceives himself. That kind of devotee deceives himself and the world by such a statement. So till the time we are conscious of our senses, till the time we have not restrained all the senses, there is no point in getting into that aspect. Better start like an ordinary person. Let us not feel bad. Let us not feel downgraded if we have to worship God with form. Because Sri Krishna says, even that is the way. And that is, of these two, that is comparatively a much easier way. I have got the form of my goddess in front of me. I will adore that my mother. Most lovingly I will adore, I will decorate that mother with beautiful clothes, with beautiful flowers, with beautiful ornaments. I keep on repeating the name. I keep on repeating that holy name, remembering my mother throughout the day. I will keep on doing the japa of my Ishtadevata, my Krishna, my Rama, my Jesus, my Buddha, my Ramakrishna throughout the day. I have something to look up to. I am not worshipping unmanifest. I have got my beloved, maybe as a, we have discussed there are so many options available to these bhaktas. They can worship the Lord as their parent. They can worship the Lord as their child in that vatsalya bhav. They can worship the Lord as their master. They can worship the Lord as their friend. They can also worship the Lord as their beloved. So what stops them? So that is what this is happening. Sri Krishna is telling now that yes, that path is extremely difficult for the embodied. But they can go, no doubt. But there is some limitation to that path. So this is what Krishna says, and further Sri Krishna is going to tell us that how the sadhaka should then start worshipping. That path may be difficult. One path may be difficult, one path may be easy. So how to progress on that? That we will see in the next shloka when it comes the reading of 6th shloka, how to worship the Saguna Brahma. Nirguna Brahma, he has told, it is extremely difficult. So let us learn from Sri Krishna in the next reading, worshipping the Saguna Brahma. Till then, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur Jai Ma. Jai Swami Ji.